They may not have started the war, but they're here to finish the fight. Here's a look at the new Jazzwares Halo Vault Limited Edition Elite Zealot and Noble 6. Defend humanity with the deluxe Jazzwares Vault edition of the Halo Elite Zealot and Noble 6. The figures have 40 points of articulation and come equipped with a concussion rifle and assault rifle and are available for a limited time exclusive to Jazzwares Vault. With a threat like this, the Resistance had to finally open the vault. Just before, of course, we get a closer look at the Jazzwares Vault Edition, the Halo exclusive Elite Zealot and Noble 6. I'd like, if I can, to thank the folks over at Jazzwares. Not only did they provide the figures that we're about to have a look at, but in fact they sent a large mailer box containing all the Vault exclusive figures inside. So we will be looking at a whole bunch of them in upcoming videos. Down to measuring, though, the figures, let's start things first with Noble 6. Taking the tape measure right to the very top of Noble 6 body, we're going to start things first in inches. Noble 6 stands at 4 inches in height, or the figure is going to be 10 centimeters tall. Onto the Elite Zealot, which is going to be, as you can see, very visibly taller. The Elite Zealot is actually, in fact, starting first with inches, of course, 4.5 inches in height, or the figure is going to be about 10.5 centimeters tall. Both figures come included with accessories, and starting maybe first with Noble 6's. The figure does come included with the assault rifle. It's molded here, as you can see, in very light plastic. They've added a little bit of decorative detail with the yellow there on the top. It holds in Noble 6's hand, although very difficult. Usually is always the case when you have an assault rifle like this, where the handle's closed in like this. It's always kind of difficult to get the figure's hands then in it. But it's something that can be pulled off. It's just a case of actually taking the hand and kind of fitting around the thumb. And Noble 6 not only can hold it in one hand, but also as well, you can bring the hand around, and it can hold the bottom stock too, if you prefer to have the rifle held that way. One thing that's also good, though, about the assault rifle is there's a peg right here that what you can do, and you probably can already see where this is going. Flip the figure around to the back. There's a hole on the back of the body that you can take the assault rifle and plug it in place like that. Nice little way of storing this. Although likely, though, if you're going to have a threat like this, you may always want to have the gun on the ready. Speaking of other weapons, though, there is also a sheath knife, although you can't actually pull it out. It's molded in place. The detailing, though, for a Noble 6 is really nicely here. I mean, you've got, first of all, like the makings of a kind of a dark black plastic figure, where what seems to be all the additional armor piece has been painted nicely there in a lighter gray. Some additional blue accents are also added there as well, not to mention a really nice gold visor. I'm going to talk more about the figure's articulation in a second. Spinning this around on the back, though, they're obviously very small figures in comparisons, but maybe even though the fact that you're dealing with a slightly smaller figure, I mean, the details certainly don't get lost here. Again, you've got some nice armor there all over the legs. The knees also have some additional articulation where you can actually see the way they've covered over the joint is by putting the kneecap armor piece there. So some nice little concealed joints of articulation as well. For again, like the size of these figures, I'm impressed with how much posability they actually do possess. Noble 6, for example, the head does rotate back and forth. It's on a ball joint. It doesn't really look up, unfortunately, but it does look down a little bit better. You can also move it ever so slightly back, but it's more so just a straight rotation. You're only going to rotate it so far, unfortunately, just because the sheath knife on one side is going to get in the way of the head movement. The arms do come out at 90 degrees. In fact, actually, you can bring them out just a little bit more than that. Although doing that, as you probably can already see, it's very easy to pop off the assault rifle. The arms do rotate all the way around. They also as well have hinges in their elbows, very tiny hinges, in fact. You can also rotate the arms there as well. Elbow bend. Hands rotates all the way around. And then the upper torso is going to be on a decent ball joint. There doesn't seem to be a waist swivel. I kind of was expecting there's something to be there, but it doesn't seem to be the case. And then the legs split out about that far. Take the legs and move forward and move them back. Again, you've got the double hinge on the knee, really nice to see. For a figure, again, this size, the fact that Jazzwares was able to put a double hinge on Noble 6's knees, really nice job. And then there's also articulation there in the ankle, so you can move it back and forth and up and down. Even though neither one of these figures actually come included with display stands, there are at least provided holes on the bottoms of the feet. So at least if you want to use a display stand and maybe have, for example, Noble 6 in more of a running pose, you can do that, pull that off as well. Nice looking figure. On to now, though, let's just get the figure to stand here for a second. On to now, though, the Elite Zealot. The Zealot, though, comes included with the concussion rifle. I really like the look of this gun. It's painted really nicely here. First of all, it starts with a pretty much dark gunmetal gray, but then they've added all this additional decorative gold on the top and on the bottom and also on the sides as well. I'd love to get like a 1-to-1 scale of this thing. As for the hands, though, the hands seem pretty much dedicated. So even though the hands both are gripping, I find the hand that works the best for holding the concussion rifle is actually this one here. Basically, like the assault rifle, it's sort of hard to kind of get the hand in there, but you basically just fit this around the thumb and then you sort of twist it around. I found I actually had a harder time to get the concussion rifle actually into the hand here, just because the Zealot's hands aren't they're not a traditional human hand, for example, so it's kind of a little hard to get that around there. But eventually, the Zealot does hold it, although it doesn't hold it very well at all. Just going to get my hand, got my own hands, get the hands, though, of the Zealot. Kind of, again, just get it wrapped around the hands. I did so much better there at the beginning of this review. Do I have it right now? Maybe I don't have it right now. But it basically, you just take the thumb. You're supposed to fit, for all intents and purposes, the thumb around this, and it holds it, although it doesn't hold it very well. I'm going to move it off to the side here for a second. The Elite Zealot, certainly from a standpoint of size, is a lot taller than Noble 6. I mean, again, we already looked at it when we looked at the size comparisons between the two figures. The plastic, again, on these is pretty good. It's more of a smoother kind of material of plastic they ended up using. For the head, for what head we could probably best describe for the Zealot, nicely detailed as well. You've got some additional blue there on the front, some nice darker blue in the top of the crest. It's a little more on the limited when it comes to the articulation. We'll talk more about that more in a moment. But the way they've actually designed the head is the way, obviously based from the game. So the ball joint essentially kind of points this way as opposed to pointing up. So when it comes to rotating the head, you can't really rotate the head up and down too much. It more or less sways from side to side. You've got this all nice dark burgundy color that they've used for the majority of the body, where you've got basically the red skeletal body just underneath that. The arm is nicely done. You've got, again, some blue accents there on the sides, lighter blues down below by the gauntlets. Spin the figure around. You know, again, for the size of these figures, I know I probably have already said this a couple of times when we looked at Noble 6, but both the figures of Zealot and 6, they're nicely detailed for the size of the figures that they actually are. And again, I'm really surprised with the level of articulation. So with, again, the articulation for the Zealot, it's the only thing that's a little bit more limited is the head. Yes, it sways back and forth, but like moving the head a bit down, it moves better down than it does really up. Obviously, just because the crest is going to stick so far back like this. The upper torso is going to be on a ball joint. This one actually does have a waist swivel. The arms rotate all the way around, And these also hinge out as well. There is a swivel there in the arm where basically it's attached by the hinge in the elbow. The elbow also allows the arm to bend. The hands also rotate all the way around. Legs split out that far. You can take the legs and move forward, move them back. There is a joint, although it's a little harder to see because, again, like the thigh pieces go over top of it. The overlapping of that kind of does hide the joint. I did notice, though, on the joints for the knees, they're really, really tight. This one bends a little bit better. This one seems to be hung up on something. I don't really know what. It does still swivel back and forth. There's a swivel actually down below here as well where the ankle, I suppose, would be. And there's some decent articulation. Even though it's covered over by like a boot cap, there's some swiveling there also as well. I guess that would be the armor. Yeah, nice looking figures. The thing I was really most concerned with when it comes to the Elite Zealot is I didn't think that the character could be able to stand all that well, just because it doesn't have as, I suppose it still has as much of a footprint as Noble 6, but with the feet fanned out like this, obviously it does also have peg holes on the bottoms of the feet, but the way that the legs are arched like this, I thought it really would be putting a lot of weight in the knees. Maybe it is a good thing that the joints are so tight in the knees to be able to store and hold its own weight. Again, these are exclusive to Jazzwares Vault's site. So again, I'll provide certainly links down below in the video description if you guys are interested to get these for yourself. Nice, though, looking figures. I don't do a whole lot of Halo reviews here on this channel. Hopefully that will change. But again, big thank you to folks over at Jazzwares for providing the Vault series of Halo, Elite Zealot, and Noble 6. When Jazzwares first reached out to me to ask if I'd be interested to have a look at any of their new products, and I said yes, I wasn't really expecting to get a big box in the mail containing all the Vault exclusives. These are limited edition pieces only available on their site, and the box contained things like Halo, Star Wars, and AEW. So we will be looking at a whole bunch of those in upcoming reviews. The limited nature of these means the only way I think you can get your hands on them is by going directly to their site. Obviously, sort of starting the Vault reviews here with both Noble 6 and Elite Zealot from Halo. They're nice, honestly, little figures. I don't collect nearly enough, I feel, of Halo. Halo's got some interesting designs of both, obviously, the suits themselves and, of course, the alien threat that they have to worry about as well. Now, with both the figures, they have weapons, although the weapons are a little hard to get in their hands. I had a harder time, honestly, to get the concussion rifle into Elite Zealot's hands. Chalk it more up to the fact that Elite Zealot has awkwardly shaped hands. Eventually does fit, and it holds quite well once you eventually get it in there. The figures, though, being small in size, more than make up for it with not only the details, but also the level of posability that both of them actually possess. I thought more, if anything, the Noble 6 would have a lot more posability, but I was really pleasantly surprised to see the amount of articulation that Elite Zealot actually had. Again, if you guys are interested in these, I'll provide links down below that take you over to the Jazzwares Vaults website. From there, you can also either order these ones, or you can also order the other stuff that they're doing as limited edition releases. And again, thanks to Jazzwares, we will be looking at them in upcoming videos. What do you guys think of the set? Let me know down below in the comment section. Have you guys also been collecting any of the Jazzwares Halo figures? And if you have, let me know down below which ones you have in your collection. And you guys also enjoyed this video, want to throw it a like. If you guys are loving the content you guys are seeing, want to stick around for more of the Jazzwares Vault exclusives. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and you're turning on the bell notification. As always, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.